Tabletop Gaming Guild is all about the experiences and memories that playing board games with friends and family can create.
I love that one. That
Nice.
is really good. So yeah, great intro, John. Welcome to the Tabletop Gaming Guild show. Today, we are going to talk about our favorite Halloween-themed games. It's going to be epic. It's going to be fun. There's going to be sadness in my voice when I have to announce a game that I recommend as one of the top games for Halloween. But the person that would make fun of me tonight is not here. Oh, so sorry, Peter. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start off with what we've been playing. We'll go round robin, and they have no idea because they can't see what order the video screens are in. But Evan gets to talk about what he's been playing. Yes.
Me?
Oh, I do like the Little Wars TV shirt. They're an awesome group.
Yep. Just happened to be in the cycle today.
Yeah.
Subscribe. So, what have I been playing? So, recently I got a weekend of board gaming, and I played a bunch of games. I narrowed it down to a list of a couple that I'm going to mention. So, one game that we did right before dinner, we had some spare time. We didn't want to get into anything too heavy, so we did about 10 missions of the crew. So, I taught everyone how to play, got them going, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not going to really talk about too much about it because we have talked about the crew, I think,
a lot.
At least a lot, yeah. But
I haven't talked about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm still not. I'm still good.
Yeah, still not talking about it. But it's a great trick-taking game, and you could teach somebody how to play it within a couple minutes and get going. And doing the missions definitely, I think, is a great way to increase replayability with it. So another game that I managed to play, managed to borrow from James his copy of Moonrakers and got that to the table too. Absolutely enjoy that game. So Moonrakers, you're a space corporation that are completing missions in space. It's a deck builder game. Everyone has the same deck, and as you do the missions, they have requirements of certain cards being played to complete those missions. But you only have one action when you do that, so you have to have the correct card combinations that you have to pull, and you have to negotiate help from other people. And I think the negotiation is very well implemented into the game. You have to take that aspect of, I need to be able to negotiate very well. I can't really screw with too many people because then nobody will help me and it'll make it impossible for me to do it. But I also have to look mid-game that I can build my deck up enough that in the end, when nobody will help me because I will win, I can do things myself. And I think it just kind of implements really well all those factors. The insert is absolutely amazing, even though that box did give me a failure on the insert. That's because it fell over. It fell over on the side, and the box lid kind of shimmied open a little tiny bit, so it gave everything a little bit of wiggle room.
Oh, yeah, so then it's a big mess.
Yeah, but got that cleaned up, so it's all right. And the third game that I'm going to mention is Pox Premiere, so I got to play that. So really, really interesting game. So in the game, you're in the role of 19th century Afghanistan leaders trying to rebuild Afghanistan as one of either the Afghanis, the British, or the Russians. So it's a tableau builder, and you have actually two areas that you're working on. You have a board, which is cloth, of the different regions of Afghanistan that you're going to put armies out, roads, and put tribes out and vie for mayorships in those provinces. But also you're going to be buying cards which represent various tribes or banks or various leaders, and it's going to be on the outside of the board in your area. So when you buy the cards, they're going to affect the stuff that's going on into the inside board, but also on the outside board, because you could put spies and whatnot, and they all have actions on them that you can use depending on a couple different things, that you can assassinate people and stuff like that with it. So it's a really cool, like, 2-layer board that you're constantly working with. The game works really smoothly. It's a little bit difficult to grasp it right at the beginning, but like a lot of those games, though, once you get about 2 turns in, things start to click. And then once you get a second play in, things make a lot more sense. You have to be very fluid in the game because things can change at the drop of a hat. But I got to play that. I've been wanting to play that for quite a while, and I was super excited that I got to get a couple games of that in.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play any of the PAX line games. One question I have that I'd never even looked up, but it just came to my top of my head. But what does PAX stand for? Is it just like a series, or does anyone know what PAX means? Like,
I don't know what the PAX means, but I know, yeah, it is like a series because there's like I remember playing like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, there's a PAX Viking one that I want to play. There's so many PAX versions, so I think it's I don't know, like maybe it's like a Tiny
PAX,
Epic.
Yeah, it was like a PAX like Mexico one. I think that's the one I remember playing the most. I'm trying to remember what the name of that one specifically was, but
I haven't played any of these games, but I vaguely remember that that's an acronym for something in Latin potentially, but don't ask me why.
Maybe.
I just looked up something. I don't know if this is really what it is. If you look up PAX, it says it has to do with the kiss of peace.
Oh no, it has to do. It's Latin for Tiny Epic.
Well, supposedly, I guess it's when you kiss the crucifix in Christianity.
Sure.
So back to board games.
Yeah.
All right. So now our new announcer will tell us what he's been playing. John?
Unfortunately, I missed out on 2 game days.
No.
And I was supposed to finish playing John Company, which is the game where you're basically all members of the British East India Company vying for your family's control of the company.
That sounds cool, but very long.
Yeah, I mean that's why we had to split into 2 nights. Although we didn't start till 8:30, and so we had an explanation on the first night. So so I missed the second night that we were supposed to have back on Tuesday. I mean, it was a lot of fun when the first night we played it. We only got like we were also playing kind of the shorter scenario, which ends in 5 rounds, but you have I think it plays up to at least 8 rounds.
How long does
and they're kind of
take?
different
I'm really
rules.
Afraid to ask.
It was probably like 30-40 minutes, but that was with us. That's what we averaged on the first night, and that was including the teach and us going, we have no idea what we're doing and why we're doing this. And then kind of like by the end of the 3rd round, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I have like this whole strategy mapped out now where I'm
cool.
acting as the president of the 3 regions within India, and I'm like focusing on that, and I have like one other office that lets me basically like defend my power base.
Okay. It sounds really cool. In my heart, there's only one extremely long game that exists, and that's Twilight Imperium. So,
I don't think it's anywhere near as long as that.
I know, but like once you hit the 3-hour mark, then it's just pretty much lump them all the same thing. Like some games of Terraforming Mars. I know, right? Just basically that game, right?
Yep, that was pretty much the main one for me.
Okay,
unless you want to include PC games.
What's that?
Unless you want to include some PC games,
No, not unless it's a board game digital adaptation of a. But I've been playing a lot of Wingspan, but
I played Terraforming Mars solo. That was on the PC. Yeah, I know.
All right, so Dan, our NDC representative and all-around awesome guy, what do you got?
Well, the day/time slot that I had for gaming got eaten up by chores and errands. So we didn't get much to the table either. It's sad and tragic. We did play like a couple hands of the crew, just long enough for us to fail 2 or 3 times.
What is it?
However many cans that was, right?
Yeah.
And then the only other gaming I got in probably in the last week was I put up good old Shards of Infinity for a couple rounds of that.
There's another digital.
Yeah, that was digital platform. Yes.
I think Shards of Infinity is amazing digitally. I have the game finally and playing it. I'm like, this is a lot faster on the app. You can take your turn a little faster. It's also cleaner. But anyway, I digress. So, Nathan.
I also imagine that it's fairer because fair. I swear the bot cheats. The bot shuffled cheats big time.
What Dominion was the game that was originally caught where a cheating bot. And it was like blatant, like they didn't have enough money to buy certain cards, and it was just like, yeah, I'm taking it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But not the current one, but the previous ones. Or original one. But anyway, so I digress. So Nathan is my brother from the same mother. Yeah. So anyway, what have you been playing, Nathan?
Well, I've been playing a game other than Oathsworn this week.
But
I am a little hesitant to mention it because James was just teasing me before we started recording about playing obscure games.
Oh, yes, I will. I'm going to destroy you. What is it?
So I've been playing Raptor.
That's not obscure.
Now, well, it's hard to find for sure. I don't think, I mean, other than people who watch, the Dice Tower a lot, I don't know if a lot of people have actually heard of it. But it's a older 2-player game where one player plays as a raptor protecting its babies, and the other player plays as scientists. And it has the game mechanic I like, where you have a hand of cards, and once you play a card, it goes in your discard. It stays in your discard until you either run out of cards or play the card that allows you to shuffle your discard back in. Unlike most of those games, you don't start with all your cards in your hand. You only start with 3, and you're just drawing from your deck. And it's really kind of interesting. It's very strategic. You're basically trying to get the baby raptors to the safe area where the scientists are trying to tranquilize your raptors and capture them. It is quite strategically interesting, although if you have a really bad starting hand, it can be a little bit hard to recover.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be a little rare because it was it's like a 3 or 4 year old game at this point, I believe.
Oh, I think it's a lot older than that, but I can check.
And it had its little moment in the sun and then disappeared. So
I could swear it's much older than that. Let me check
no,
real
it
quick.
probably is. I mean, COVID time, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was well before COVID.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I lost 2 years of my life. They're gone. That I don't count for anymore.
Okay, it's 6 years old. I thought it was older than that, but
So it's about right because you remove the 2 COVID years. We're just gonna go with that. So
2016 to 2020 is 1 year.
Yeah,
it's 1 month.
just about. Especially when
One
you get
long
older,
year.
just flies by. Anyway, so on the Oathsworn report, where are you at? What season are you at?
So I'm about 3/4 the way through. I am on chapter 15 right now.
Okay.
And it is still doing a really good job of changing things up constantly. So each scenario, well, I don't really love any particular scenario. It is really good at keeping your interest.
Okay.
Most games at this point, if I played this many games of anything, I usually want to take a break from it for a while. This one, I just want to keep playing, see what it's going to do in the next chapter.
So the question is, did you like it enough that you just backed the new Kickstarter to get the additional content?
No.
Oh, okay. You're like, I got enough. I'm good. All right.
There's a lot in this game.
There is like a lot.
Did you back the new Kickstarter to give James a copy?
Oh, that's even better.
I think I got like an hour's worth of unboxings for this.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's cool. I've really only played 2 games, but one game I've played the expansion for too. One of the ones is still one of my favorite games to play with kids, and that's Quest Kids. Quest Kids is a great game to play with kids between, like, I would say about 4 and probably I would go like 5 to 7. If you go in that range, the game is amazing. Basically, all you're doing is you're just going through a dungeon, landing on either a green, gray, or red tile. Red tiles are dangerous. They could be bad things. You can get great rewards from them. You do the green and gray to build yourself up. Green is generally always good. Gray can be somewhat bad. Like you run into some of these monsters. And you're trying to simply just do set collections so that when you run into the big bads, you can use sets of different cards to make them run away. But the cool thing that I like about the game is, just in the younger audience, is if you help someone, it's not a cooperative game, by the way. If you help someone, you get kind kid cards. And a kind kid card gives you really cool bonuses in the game. So it incentivizes my daughters to help each other in this non-cooperative competitive game. So they're still trying to get all the points, but they're really happy to be like, oh, you need a power card. I'll give you a power card. And so I like that. I like the fact that it promotes sharing, and it's just a light, fun game. It's not one that you would probably you can't take seriously. So once they get a little bit older, they're going to outgrow it. But in that age range, if you got kids in that age range, it's an amazing game. I would highly recommend it. The game that I love, because apparently I just like anything with pirates at all, I guess. But Dead Men Tell No Tales is an amazing, amazing cooperative board game. In this game, your pirate captain is sending out his crew, or her crew, out into the ship that they have just blown to pieces. So you are racing through this ship trying to gain treasure enough to satisfy your captain. So you're basically going to look at your player count. That's how many treasures you have to remove from the ship before it sinks. Now, that's one thing. You're trying to do that before it's a fire that's consuming the ship and not really water. So there's a fire raging in there. If you let the fire go too high, it'll consume a room. There's powder kegs in there, so you have to keep the die lower or it'll blow up. It'll make the power keg blow up. When rooms finally get consumed with fire, they can cause chain reactions. You can lose this game so many different ways. You can lose it from not being able to get to the last tile to get your treasures. You can lose it from having too many of the crew members die. So if you die in this game, you get another crew member. It comes right back out. Keep on going. But if you run out of crew members, you die. There's also undead skeletons on this board. And the undead skeletons are guarding treasures and other really cool loot. So you have to deal with them. And then you have these undead deckhands that come up. And that's almost like a pandemic style mechanic. Not quite, but really close. And you need to mitigate those, because if you put all those out, you lose the game. And if you have 3 or more in a room, you can no longer enter that room. You have to remove the deckhands from adjacent rooms, and it slows you down. Really cool, really fun cooperative game. I really like the piratey elements they put in it. Like, you can swap items. So I can swap items with Dan, let's say. But I just take his item. Like, I don't need his permission. I'm taking it. And then I could just do my own merry little thing. So I really like that, because it's just like, hey, we're pirates. I'm not really asking. I'm just taking your axe. So it's fun. I love the theme. I love how tense it gets. And I played the Kraken expansion, which normally when you have a cooperative style game, when they add an expansion, it just simply makes the game harder. This does not. This has a lot of mechanisms it adds into the game to mitigate the additional threat of the Kraken that you have to deal with. One of them is you can now close the trapdoors to try to slow down the deckhands coming in. The other one is you get 6 actions instead of 5, which is really cool. And with all these benefits that you're getting, you get a new player, you get all this cool stuff. You get red deckhands, which actually will make you draw another one. So you can have like a chain reaction there. And the Kraken, you have to now destroy the Kraken along with getting your treasure because your captain doesn't want the Kraken around to be stealing your ships that you have been trying to loot. So now you got to deal with that too. Really cool. I cannot wait to play it with you guys at a game day. I think you're going to love it. Just an amazing game. So that was it. That was my 2 games. All right, so now we're going to talk about our favorite Halloween game. And we'll go in the same order that only I can see. So, Evan, in no particular order, or mine's going to be from my least favorite to favorite, but we don't really have to do that. What is a Halloween game you like?
So, in honor of Peter, I am going to mention Betrayal because he, much like myself, thoroughly enjoyed the game. So we've talked about Betrayal a few different times, but Betrayal, you are a set of a group of people. You find this abandoned house up on top of the hill, and then you're going to go and explore through it. And as you explore through it, the house is always changing from gameplay to gameplay. And as you get further and further in the house, you eventually unlock the haunt that happens there, which completely changes the game. And it gives you your win and lose conditions. Somebody is determined as a betrayer, and you work out the set of rules for the haunt. So, real good Halloween-ish theme with it. I think it fits very well with what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah. So, don't tell Peter, but that was my number 5. I think it is just about the campiest style game that you can talk about that has sort of like a story throughout the thing. I mean, it's not much of a story, but it is definitely a very campy game. Pretty much any like horror movie you ever heard of, that's going to be one of the scenarios. It may not make any sense, but it's in there.
It's very Scooby-Doo-esque.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Scooby-Doo or
They printed.
I did not hear
Anyone
you,
hear
Dan.
Dan?
Go again.
I'm sorry. They printed that game with a Scooby-Doo theme, didn't they?
They did.
They
Yeah,
did.
I thought they did.
Because it's pretty much well, I mean, it was a little it has
What do you call it?
Scooby-Doo
The
thing.
during the first half of the game, this was also on my short list.
Yeah.
During the first half of the game, the random spooky things will happen, which are just like event draws. So like literally they're just draws off of a random deck of cards. So like they don't really connect to what else is going to happen down the road in terms of like when the haunt is revealed.
Yeah.
But like the plot turn that happens when the plot haunt is revealed is really what makes or breaks the game. It's what makes it awesome.
Breaks. It can break.
Yeah.
It's what makes the game awesome. It's also what potentially can ruin it if like one side is randomly super close to winning when it starts, but like it could also make the game because it's like, oh man, the house being eaten by a giant ooze, and we have only so many turns before it eats all the rooms in the house and we're all dead. We need to find X, Y, and Z before this happens.
Yeah. Couple things. The Scooby-Doo theme made no sense in that game. Because it was literally Betrayal House on the Hill with Scooby-Doo, but like, why is Betty just turned into a vampire killing people? What is happening? But one of my biggest problems, and I think that Betrayal House on the Hill actually needs an app to handle this stuff, is because in some scenarios the rules are so ambiguous that you have when they're doing the haunt that it's so hard for the person that gets the haunt, especially if it's a player that's only played it once or twice, to actually know what the heck's happening. So they're like, I have no idea what is this. So that was my other big complaint about the game, is some of the second half scenarios can be so out there and so ambiguous that you just like, we had one where we had cultists out. Great, the cultists are out. What are they doing? I guess they're just standing there. I don't know. Didn't seem like there was any rules on them moving or anything. You just had to kill them. So I guess they just stand there and we stabbed them.
Now, it did get a third edition print, but I haven't looked into it or seen if they've cleaned it up or.
I would hope so. It did get a clean
Yeah.
new look, so the art's up there. The art in second edition looked like it came out of like 80s movies, 80s, 90s, early 90s movies, which is the theme. So that's fine.
At this point,
you
I
know,
think
I
there's
always
like
wanted to-
6 versions of the game.
Yeah, one of them I would always wanted to try was Betrayal on at Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, that one's supposed to be fairly different, but the same idea. I think they streamlined the Betrayer a little bit for it. I don't know. I haven't played it. I wouldn't be against playing it, but again, I really think they need to put these on an app and have the app manage it. And then the game will be amazing, like maybe one that I'll mention later on. All right, so that was
Madness.
that was Evans that sparked this controversy. So let's go to John's.
All right, so mine, this first one here, I'm going to go with. I think it's probably the most mainstream of my selections. I was trying to go with like what's ones that I enjoyed, and maybe everyone else doesn't have on their short list already.
Okay.
So my first one I'm going with is Mysterium.
I almost put that on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, like the whole, communicating, just one person being the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wound up having, it's like, ooh, every time I played. I mean, I loved being as the ghost.
Yep.
And then it's just kind of, then doing an angry, ooh. But it's like the third time they still haven't figured it out. Yeah. But yeah, it's probably of like those kind of hidden information ones where one person knows everything. I mean, I don't know. I love it. Between the card art and everything else. I mean,
oh yeah, it's like that Dixit style art too, which is like abstract. So
yeah,
it's really horrible as the ghost when you're like, I know what's happening. Here's my hand of cards. Oh my god. Yep. I have to give one of these to you guys. And you're already thinking something that's total in left field. Like, I have no idea why you guys are thinking this. And then you maybe give them a card that's completely off. So they're like, try to get them off that train track. And then they're still like all on it because they make some crazy connection that is completely impossible.
It's like, oh, hey, look, this has this thing in the picture. And this also has garden tools. I'm like, no, that's not what I was going with.
Right. It's like,
because they're both green.
This one has a nail in it. Nails are used in train tracks. Trains run on train tracks. Superman and trains. I'm like,
yep.
What is wrong with you people?
But it's great also like listening to the back and forth on that, because then you're kind of like, okay, now I know how crazy in depth some of them might be going, and you try and play off of. I mean, I love that whole kind of interaction of like trying to suss out what clues they pick up on.
Yeah.
So I've only played this once, and I did not have a good experience because I think I played the worst way you could with complete strangers. And this is a game that it seems to be really do a lot better if you know the people you're playing with, because if you know a little bit of how their brain works, because that's the whole point of the game, is kind of figuring out how their brain is working, how they're trying to communicate.
I don't know. I mean, if you're the ghost, it's pretty cool playing with strangers because you're just like, why?
Yeah.
What
my
culture
brother,
were you brought up in?
Yeah. My brother is like not huge on playing games or whatever.
Yeah.
I had like my 40th birthday party that I did in the middle of nowhere.
That's even better. Spooky playing a spooky game.
Oh, we did it in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. Like I just rented out their conference room for $50.
Getting murdered.
Yeah. He played that with a bunch of strangers he never met before, and he really enjoyed it. Like he wasn't huge in games, but he wound up like playing it 3 times.
Right. And I went to defend Nathan a little bit on there. I think it's like in the same idea as Gloom. It's the group that makes the game. So if you play with complete strangers and they gel, then it'll work. Same with Gloom. Gloom is not a great game. But if you add the acting in with it and the over-the-top like explanations of why you're handing the card to another, no one cares. It's just fun.
Yep.
And it needs that. And this does too. So, but yeah, great pick, good Halloween pick. So don't tell Peter, but we got 2 for 2 so far. Yeah. So let's see if Dan can keep it going.
All right. Let's see. What do I want to name first? I'm gonna go with a sort of more simple game. I'm gonna mention Tiny Epic Zombies.
James is going to have no list by the time it gets to him.
Tiny Epic Zombies is, of course, part of Gameland Games' Tiny Epic line. This game is interesting for a couple different ways. One, there's like a large stack of like characters with different special powers that you can play in. You pick 3 of, I don't remember exactly how many, but I think it's 9 total mission cards that you have to, and you have to complete all the objectives on all 3 of these mission cards for the players to win their scenario. And then the game can be played co-op, right? Where it's all the players against just the game system.
Mm-hmm.
It could be played asymmetrical, where there's a group of players against a single zombie player, or it could be played. There's even a competitive mode where the players are competing for the objectives. So like it's sort of like MVP wins competitive mode. But a lot of game variability in the box. Played this more than a few times. Really like it.
Yeah, and then it has those item meeples. So it has like you could put the chainsaw on your guy. You could do all sorts of really cool stuff. And I Tiny Epic games are Tiny Epic games, and not all of them are the greatest. Some of them are good. I haven't had one I didn't like at all. But Tiny Epic Zombies is an amazing Tiny Epic game. I like it a lot. I do like it for the scenarios, the variability in the scenarios. My favorite mode, though, is going to be cooperative against the game. That's my favorite. But I would be willing to play any of the other ones, especially playing with someone actively playing as the zombies, because it's nice to have, even though zombies really shouldn't be intelligent, it's nice to have that sort of extra stress in the game. So yeah, really good pick. 3 for 3. Let's see if Nathan drops the ball.
Probably will. You've already actually mentioned my pick, but I actually did not pick like my favorite games. I specifically picked games that fulfill a certain type of horror, because horror, I feel like, is a really hard thing to do in board games, and generally it's really hard to scare people. And I just trying to pick games that take a different approaches. And for this pick, I picked a game that picks a kind of lighthearted, silly approach, which is Gloom, which James did kind of mention briefly. But
yeah, well, now I got to mark off my number 4 here.
So Gloom is all about, you have a family, you are trying to make horrible things that happen to your family, and describe in detail what happens. So you're it's a storytelling game primarily, but the card game itself is pretty light, and it's mainly focused on, basically it's giving you little prompts to tell a story. And usually it's silly. You might be harassed by geese and like scared to death. You might end up starving, so it can get a little dark, but the whole point is you're making your family unhappy as possible, then killing them off before somebody else can do something to make them happy again. And that's really the whole game.
Yeah. Like I said, that game's all about the game group.
Yep.
I love the clear cards with that.
Oh yeah, the clear cards are amazing.
That is a really interesting space of game design that not a lot of games have revisited. Like the only other game that I can think of that uses like clear pieces of plastic and overlays is like the Mystic Veil deck building system. I think is one of the few.
Yeah, then
or
the
the
one that
sequel,
came
Edge of
after.
Darkness.
Yeah, Edge of Darkness, which is the same designer for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so mine, this one is oddly, this seems far-fetched for a Halloween game for some unknown reason in my head. But and I don't know why, because witches and wizards are like a Halloween theme. But for some reason, when I say Harry Potter Hogwarts battle, I'm not like, it's not screaming Halloween to me. But it does have witches and wizards, and it is an amazing deck building game that is really fun and easy to teach. So I could see myself on Halloween when I am tired of having my little children run me until I have a heart attack around the neighborhood getting candy, that I could sit down before I died and play Hogwarts. Now I'd play something different, but it's still an awesome game. It's a campaign style game, campaign with air quotes. So once you've played through it, you pretty much played through it. And they did make an expansion, Beasts and something else that you can keep on going with. So I'm not entirely sure about the replayability because we played through it and I don't have it. I liked it, but I don't have a desire to go back and go through the whole progression again. Yeah, that's my potential miss one, but it is witches and wizards and it's Halloween. So
See, the thing is, I would consider that magical fantasy because it's a power trip. You are a powerful player as you're a powerful character, whereas to be horror, you're supposed to be vulnerable. You're supposed to be afraid.
No, that is technically, sir,
It's magical
mystical and fantasy, not Halloween. Diversely different subjects. You have failed. I am giving you an F.
You see, actually.
All right, so I guess I dropped the ball. That's okay. We can try to pick it back up with Evans.
So if we're going to talk horror, why do we not talk about sci-fi horror and talk about
I know
the best aliens game that's out there that isn't Aliens?
Oh, wait, it's Aliens.
It's Aliens. Nemesis. So Nemesis is the movie Aliens in a board game.
Yeah.
We have a playthrough out there. It's absolutely fantastic. The thematics in the game are phenomenal. The game's just really, really good. And you will absolutely love playing it.
Yeah, you can watch me get killed halfway through the game and be butthurt for the rest of the game.
Because Nathan just completely backstabs James, and it was fantastic.
It was, but you know,
it's usually the other way around, so I think it's fair game.
That is perfectly Aliens. Like that is Aliens.
Oh, and if you get the physical copy, like the miniatures are absolutely amazing. The quality of the board is amazing. Like it's just head to toe, just a really good game.
Especially if you have someone paint them.
Well, the aliens already come painted because they're already black. So.
Oh no! You got to add contrast.
There's too much work.
Says the guy that just printed like 1 million Vikings, painted them.
But what if I want to have an alt universe aliens and I want mine to be bright pink?
Yeah, with purple wash, so that when you look at it, not only does it scare you, but it burns your eyes.
So is this the My Little Pony universe where they've actually infested the ponies?
No, that'd be too scary.
No.
That would never make that game. I would just...
Yeah, look, there's no way that would happen. Rainbow Dash would just Sonic Boom, they'd all die or whatever.
Lord. All right, so...
I watched a lot of Game Theory. I think that was one of the ones they had.
Oh, really?
Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, or no, that was Death Battle. It was like Rainbow Dash versus Starscream.
Oh, okay. I remember those. That's been a long time. All right. So, John, what is your next Halloween-themed game that is probably on my list?
Maybe. All right. So we started with, kind of the lighthearted, Mysterium. And then I was going to go with the very much more Addams Family gloom. But since that one's out, we're going to go a little more macabre. The Bloody End.
Oh, no, I don't have that one. Okay.
Yeah, so that one is card game where you're running a hotel and you're trying to murder their guests and find places to bury them and steal all their stuff. So you have to worry about the police showing up, and if there's a police in the room and you don't have your body stashed, you're in trouble. You got to pay the gravedigger to do a quick job for you.
Can't you hide them under the floorboards a little bit too?
it's kind of like that. So you have like the cards in your hand, your resources, so you can play one face down to basically create a space to hide them under the floorboards, kind of thing.
You're like, hey, just don't look over this way.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I played, but we played it like 5 or 6 times. I remember enjoying it a lot. Like every person plays a different character, and you have kind of different bonuses and synergies with the different methods of killing and or recruiting people, to help you murder everyone else and steal their stuff.
Yeah. I think there's a really old black and white movie called like Arsenic and Lace where they were just killing old people and stealing all
Arsenic
their
and
stuff.
Old Lace, yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, drink the tea.
Yeah, it's a Jimmy Stewart movie. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. But yes, this is a game I've always wanted to play, is Bloody End.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're keeping the ball rolling. It will come back to me to drop it. But Dan, what do you got?
I will mention a game that I've only played on Tabletop Simulator a couple times, and that is Horrified.
Okay.
Going a little bit towards the more campy side of things, because it's Universal Studios monsters, and there's multiple monsters in the game. You could play with 2 or 3, so it's almost like you and your fellow players are the Abbott and Costello trying to take out Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy, for example. Except like you're kind of more capable than Abbott and Costello are, but like it's a co-op game where you're basically collecting item tokens from various rooms and then discarding those item tokens in various ways to defeat the monsters. And each monster has sort of like a 2-phased defeat plan on their special card, where for Dracula you have to go to the 4 corners of the board and destroy his coffins before you can face him and get rid of him permanently. And like the creature from the Black Lagoon, you have to move a token down this search track until you can find his lair before you can deal with him. So it's there is some challenge to actually using the tokens to do all of these things in the good time.
Yeah. I'm really like how like asymmetric the monsters are, so they all have their own different like way of defeating them. So I think that's really cool, and most of them like sort of match with the theme. So I think it's a really great game.
Yeah, basically each monster is almost like its own little mini game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that they flat out put it right into the rule book. Like, if you're going to do this monster, like it's this level of difficulty, so you can really gauge it super easily with the group that you're playing with.
Yep, it's good. Good.
And they're also really supporting this game. They're putting out new versions. You got the American Horror, and there's a new one out now. I don't remember what it is.
All right, so Nathan, what is your next Halloween style game or Halloween game? It has to be 100% themed Halloween now. Don't drop the ball.
Okay, well, I'm taking another approach that a lot of games do. Is they put it in a Halloween setting, and then they really don't do much with that.
Are you just doing awful games?
No, I'm doing great. This is a great game, but the theme is there. It's just not that important. It's more of an abstract game. That's Letters from Whitechapel.
Okay, well that's Jack the Ripper, so that's Halloween themed. You mean you're sure?
It has a good theme. It's just you can kind of like ignore the theme completely if you want to, because it's really about strategizing.
Selling it.
It's a hidden movement game, and you're trying to like path out where the Jack the Ripper could have went and try and track him down and narrow down the possibilities. And it's really just like a deduction game that's really well done. And it's, there's no real luck in this game. It's just about, can you outsmart the other person?
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty fun game. And I know Evan got to play Mr. Jack Pocket, and it has its own thing. So yeah, that's close enough, but mine is better. Mine is a better Halloween game. I win, Nathan. I win.
What was it going to be? Twilight?
No. That is no.
I think I killed Nathan.
Yeah, pretty much. No. If you ever want to see a cool video, you should look at the Brothers Murph unboxing video of Twilight. It's really good. All right, so mine is, I think, like one of my quintessential Halloween style games that I really like bringing out this time of year, and that is Dead of Winter. In Dead of Winter, you are playing as a colony trying to survive the zombie apocalypse, with zombies coming in from all sides on there, and you all have your different win conditions, but one of you could be a traitor. However, some of the win conditions that a non-traitor has are very, like, traitorific. But I just made that word up. It's going to stick. Anyway, it has, what do they call it? They have a system for it, for the card system. I keep forgetting what they call that. It's also in the pirate version of the
Crossroads.
game. Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Cards.
Yep.
And I think what was the pirate version of the game?
Forgotten Waters.
Forgotten Waters. I think they did it better because they offloaded it to an app. So when you offload it to the app, the cards most of the time worked with the scenario, where with the Crossroad cards and Dead of Winter, a lot of them just don't do anything, which is fine, because in Dead of Winter, it's very stressful to have the player to your left pull up a card and just stare at it while you take your turn. And what's really fun is if you have a card that doesn't do anything, you stare at them and pretend like you're waiting for them to move. So, I don't know. This is a lot of fun games, and we have really great stories from it. It's another game that requires a good group of players to play it, because they need to mesh together and just have a good time. We've had tons of amazing stories that last throughout the years of playing this game, like Hobo Santa Claus. That's an amazing story. It's just the nostalgia in the game and how much fun we have playing it. For me, it's just a game that will never, ever leave my collection, and I will always play it when anyone asks. And that's Dead of Winter. Don't care which one, Longest Night or who cares? Dead of Winter.
Well, the one thing about the app, tying it to the story and making sure it fits with the scenario, is you don't get memorable moments that completely break the game, such as the dog taking the shotgun and killing his own dad with a shotgun.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. You're going to shoot Papa. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm a dog with a shotgun. Yeah, it's good. And they even made a comic after the dog, too, because it was that popular.
Yeah.
I mean, like Dead of Winter is one of those co-op games that does the thing that co-op games need, which is gives you that little bit of, you need something to pit the teammates at odds with each other.
Yeah.
Like some kind of hidden information that they need to, obfuscate and also kind of have, where you're like, you might do something that, will delay the game because you don't want to be the only one who doesn't win.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Dead of Winter's Traitor is it's really hard to be the traitor in Dead of Winter. Not like Camelot, when it doesn't even matter because they're not going to win anyway, so who cares? I've played Camelot, Shadows over Camelot, as the traitor multiple times, and I just tried to help them the entire time. We just lost. Like, I didn't even try to be a traitor. I was just like, I'm going to go help. Still can't win. But Dead of Winter, if you get exiled, it's almost impossible to win. So you got to watch it as the traitor. You're not really going to be actively doing a lot. In fact, when I was a traitor in Dead of Winter, I always had to wait till the very last minute. And it's a lot of it about timing, because you can wait too late and then you can't, nothing you do is really going to really, tank them.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're just nudging it. Like when they have one more morale loss, you're like, I got a card where I get to pick if we're going to lose a morale.
Now, when you said that, James, aren't you always the traitor in Dead of Winter, though?
I played Dead of Winter 3 times in a row, and every time I was the traitor. They had to stack the deck because, statistically, I don't even think that is a possibility. But yeah, I'm the traitor a significant amount of time. I'm pretty sure people are making sure that I'm the traitor in these games. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's the my luck or something. But yeah, the chances are if there's a traitor in the game, it's me. All right. So, Evan, what is your Halloween game?
So the next one that I'm going to talk about is going to go into the obscure here.
Okay.
So we are going to go with a game that is based off of a Halloween favorite writer, Edgar Allan Poe. The game is Mask of the Red Death.
I haven't even heard of that one.
That one's a new one on me.
Yes.
You finally beat Nathan.
Obscure.
Nathan doesn't even know what it
Looking
is.
it up right now. He must know.
It's actually one of my favorite short stories, but I don't know this game.
Ah, you
So
win,
it was
Evan.
So this one came out on Kickstarter a few years ago, and the game is based around the short story, and the prince is having a large ball while the Red Death is running amok along the countryside. So in the game, you are in the ball, and you need to obtain favor with the prince to get the victory points to win in the game. But you also have to manage that with also finding the pattern that the Red Death is going to come. So he comes in, it's a time game. Each turn takes off so much time on the clock. And at midnight, the Red Death comes and will go in to visit the different rooms and has a pattern that it's going to go through that was secretly determined at the beginning of the game. So on your turn, you can work to get victory points off the prince, sabotage other people, or you can work to discover the various rooms that the Red Death is going to be in. So if you die, you lose no matter how many points you have. You also could have the lowest amount of favor, but if you're the last one standing, you win. And what's interesting with it is because there's I think 7 rooms in it, and the Red Death can just hop around in different spots. You have to figure out which room you want to be at midnight. And then from there, you have the choice of either moving left one room, right one room, or staying put. So you have to kind of like figure out a pattern for yourself that's going to work against the Red Death's pattern. So it's a really neat thing with that. I really like the art style that you choose with the game too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the art looks cool.
I've had this on my shelf since it delivered from Kickstarter. I got it for my wife, and she has been wanting to play this. But every time we get a group of people that we would think would want to play it, we're always one short of the minimum of 4 people.
Yeah.
So we'll get it to the table eventually, one day. But yeah, so Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah, sounds like a really interesting game. All right, John, what do you got?
All right. Well, continue on with the my theme, which is I take pride in the fact that none of my games have zombies in them.
That's not a good thing to be proud of at Halloween.
Oh.
No. Halloween and zombies is like peanut butter and jelly.
But they're just so passe when you could have something so much cooler, like witches at Salem 1692.
Okay. I haven't played that game either.
Yeah. So that one every time I played that one, it was a lot of fun. It's been a while, but when I remember, you're each hidden roles, handed out to you, and you have so many players that are going to be witches, and you're trying to suss out who amongst you can you trust, and you can throw out accusations. And I feel like there was like the witch cards can even sometimes move, so you might not be a witch at the beginning, but you can change later on. It's like I said,
it's one of those things. You just wake up in the morning, you're like, "Dang, I'm a witch."
It's like, yep, I'm a witch now, and like that can happen throughout it because I remember some teams like flipping. It's like, oh hey, this person was on my side, now they aren't, and so it's one of those things where I think we've had like, all of it's kind of like a little bit werewolfish, and how the gameplay goes a little bit, but there's a lot more cards and like you're putting people on trial, And if you put them on trial, they have to reveal one of their roll cards. And if they ever have to reveal a witch card, then you found one of the witches. So you'll have cards that say not a witch in your hand as well as ones that say witch. So it's kind of like a whole strategic element to take a look at what everyone else has. Sounds cool.
So yeah, Facade Games does a real good job with their line with that one. I have that one on my shelf too, and they did a lot of research and focused really with the Salem witch trials for it. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff of historical important sets implemented into the game too, which is really cool. And yeah, because of the feverish of the witch trials at the time, John's right. You can like start off not a witch, and all of a sudden now you are a witch. And it's
now I have that
it plays
Monty
really
Python
well.
skit stuck in my head.
She turned me into a newt. Well, I got better.
Well, I guess you're wedding now. All right. So, what is your Halloween themed game, Dan?
All right. The next one I'm going to mention is good old Arkham Horror.
Okay.
So Arkham Horror has been around for quite some time. I have only played the current 3rd edition. For those who are familiar with some of the older ones that are out there. But basically, this is a Cthulhu mythos game. It's produced by Fantasy Flight, so the box filled with like tons of decks of cards and like piles of tokens and all that other nonsense. No miniatures whatsoever. It's just cards and tokens. And the base game box comes with like 4 scenarios, and the scenarios are very different, both in terms of difficulty and like the kind of adversaries that you're facing. Each scenario is associated with a different elder god, and it uses a deck of cards. I believe that the game refers it to the archive. Basically, like at the beginning of the game, you're told to stage certain cards, and the cards will provide rules for you as to like whether or not Doom, which is bad stuff, that appears in town sectors will create like time wibble portals or not, or like what you'll craft a special monster deck to spawn monsters. But like the archive cards are the way in which the story advances, because as Doom gets shoveled onto the scenario sheet, usually the opposition force's story will advance, and cards will be flipped over and or removed and replaced with new cards to indicate that stuff is getting worse. And as the heroes do their things, different cards will show up to show that their upcoming objectives. So if you're starting a scenario for the first time, which I've done multiple times this you won't necessarily know exactly what you need to do in order to win it.
Yeah, that's a game I've always wanted to play and never got a chance to. So these days. So spoiler alert, you might get a chance to play it at some point in the near future. Cool.
Because I have thought I've played this game like more than a dozen times at this point, but I've come to the realization that it's one of those co-ops where the more the players can effectively stall, the better off they are.
Okay.
Which creates really unfun play experiences when you are trying to stretch the game into its 3rd or 4th hour.
Oh man, no. I still want to give it a try, but
I've never won a game of this.
Is it?
I've never won a game of this that's lasted under 2. It's always been over 2.
Oh,
and some of the later scenarios, which are definitely more difficult than the first scenario, I've managed to win in them, but it's stretching into the 30-hour mark. I've only won 2 scenarios out of like the 6 that I have access to, because I did invest in one expansion. Expansion scenarios are definitely harder than the base game scenarios, FYI.
Yeah, and if it's under 2 hours, then it's only because you like totally tanked it and you lost already.
Yeah.
I pulled mine out to check, and Mine is second edition, so it looks a lot different than your version. But I think it plays roughly the same.
Yeah, my understanding
I've
is
only
that
ever
third
played the
edition
second.
was a dramatic shift from like second or even first. I don't know because I've never seen in those games in action, as it were.
Yeah, no, still want to try it, but all right. So, Nathan, what is your Halloween game?
So I want to talk about games that go let's make it difficult and kill you off as quickly as possible.
Oh, okay, so someone's dropping
scenario.
the ball. His name is Nathan.
Which there's like two games that come into mind with this one. The most popular, well-known one is Ghost Stories.
Okay, yes, Ghost Stories.
Which is just like brutally hard to the point where a lot of people don't believe you can win it, but you know, some people have, so obviously you can.
Or did they?
It doesn't help. It has complicated rules that, you know, it can make mistakes on the rules, and it can make it even harder. But basically, you are fighting off a horde of ghosts and spirits and things, and basically they just keep coming and coming, and you keep on having to battling them off and hopefully make it to the big boss. I've never actually made it to the big boss. But yeah, you're traveling around town and just trying to power up and get tokens so you can help you beat these ghosts. To a lesser degree, I think Cthulhu Death May Die does a little bit of that. It definitely seems to ramp up in difficulty after the first scenario, which I'll let James talk about that one some more.
Yeah, I figured that was probably on his list.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I got a better one than Death May Die.
Okay, sure. I will talk about Death May Die. So Death May Die does it a significantly better than Ghost Stories. It still can be hard, and it can be to the point where you get a little bit frustrated because you don't think it's even possible to win a scenario, but it definitely is. But you do have this feeling of power the entire time, because the more insane you go, the more powerful you get, and the more cool actions you get. It's just you're taking huge risks by being in these vulnerable positions of high insanity or low health.
Yeah, you keep getting more and more powerful. Like, this is awesome, and like, you're dead.
Yeah.
Plus, you need to be insane to punch Cthulhu in the face.
That's true, because you wouldn't be able to do it sanely.
Oh no.
Which is, I'm really sad that I missed out on the Baby Cthulhu, but they're coming out with the season 3 on Kickstarter. So you guys might be playing with a 2-foot-tall giant thing of plastic.
I want to see you paint it, James.
Oh, I would. If I actually spent the money to get it, I would paint it. It's gonna take up all my paints, but I will do it. It'll happen.
Hey, you want go to Walmart and get the apple barrel paints. Those are like 50 cents a piece.
The problem is I'm gonna do it like really, really good, because if I'm spending $250 on a giant plastic baby, it's going.
You're gonna pay someone else to paint it.
What's that?
You're gonna pay someone else to paint it.
Yeah, like Evan. I don't even think there's enough money that I could pay to recuperate the loss of paint. Especially when you put the wash on, you just be like crying because it's like liquid money getting poured all over the thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it going to cost $2,000 if you're doing it in your Reaper paints?
Yeah, pretty much.
When you pretty much have to use house paint.
With your number one brush on there, you're like, this is gonna take forever. Oh man.
Yeah, that would be bad.
It's so bad. That'd be hilarious though, but bad. Yeah, that is I love Death May Die. It is an amazing. Every time I play it, it keeps going higher and higher on my top 10 list. So it is an amazing game that I underrated when I started it. But the more you play it, the more you're just like, this is an amazing release to just destroy things. You might not live, but heck, you're just blowing stuff up left and right. Who cares? Star Spawn, I'm going to hit it with my fist. Might not work out, but I'm hitting it with my fist. So my at this point number one and only left thing on my entire list at all, but is the number one Halloween game. But before that, I am a little sad that I didn't get to mention Eric M. Lang on this episode at all. So that's unfortunate that didn't get mentioned at all. I really wanted to play the Others game that Eric M. Lang designed, but I haven't yet, so I can't have it on my list, so I can't mention him. So I'm sorry.
Well, we already talked about Death May Die. That's
true. Eric M. Lang, Death May Die. Yes. That's not as funny, but yes, that is true.
Someone ring the bell.
Ding. So mine is Mansions of Madness, which I think is the best Halloween style game. You have ambiance from the app. It basically plays eerie music or whatever matches with the scenario. You have all sorts of different scenarios you can go through. You want to do a murder mystery? There's murder mystery scenarios. You want to run away from something gigantic that's going to eat your face off? There's a scenario for that. You want to have a hidden traitor? There's a scenario for that. It's amazing how much they can do with the box of stuff you have and make like weird things function in a board game. Like the train one, you feel like you're on a train. Why? I have no idea, but it feels like you're moving across the train and you're trying to do these different events. Tiles will come in and out, and when you jump up on top, you get pushed back. It's really, really cool. And if you love Cthulhu, you really have to get Mansions of Madness. If you like horror-based games or murder mysteries, you have to get Mansions of Madness. It's just amazing. I've never had a bad experience. And everyone I've ever played with has loved it. So yeah, Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, every time I've played it, it's been a lot of good.
Yeah.
And, it's been a lot of fun. Unfortunately, a person who had the copy of it that I was playing, he moved to Seattle. So
yeah, well, good thing I have every single thing except for one expansion that they only did one print run of that I can't get. So without spending thousands of dollars. What's that?
Go broke. Want to go broke?
Yeah, go broke.
Get all the expansions.
It only works for one scenario too, which is super sad. I've even looked for the original first edition Mansions of Madness just to buy it so that the game comes with a conversion kit. So if you had the original Mansions of Madness and you bought Mansions of Madness, all your miniatures and everything moved into second edition, and you would just replace their stats with these little stat cards. And if you didn't have the original edition, they came out with 2 different packs that had everything that those did, all the miniatures. And it was literally just miniatures that came in that. And I got one, but the other one's out of print and suppressed memories. So if you have it, send it to me.
So I think the app really helps a lot in this.
It does.
It's the ambient noise really does setting and really does help with the horror. Also, it allows it to have like a hidden timer. So that there's some sort of timer going on. You don't know what's causing it to tick forward.
Yeah. It's very stressful in the game too, because you're like, you could tell when it's like you need to keep moving, because like all of a sudden you'll have this giant star spawn. And unlike Cthulhu Death May Die, you just can't run up and punch them.
No.
It doesn't end out well. Like these guys you generally run. Running is a big option in Mansions of Madness. Now, if it's like a cultist, yeah, you can punch him. He's just a person, but yeah. Even little monsters are in Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, the little ones you can fight.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I remember shooting something big with a shotgun in one of the scenarios.
Yeah, you can have weapons, shotguns and stuff. And even with that, it's just like, I'm only going to tangle with this guy because I have to. Not, because he'll tie you down. You can't just run away easily. You have to go into the app and attempt to run away. Yeah, it's brutal, but it's a lot of fun. It's really good. And that's my last game.
Yeah.
So let's see what Evan has. I don't know that he can top Mansions of Madness, but hey.
I really don't have too much more to talk about. So
No, I just did the Paramount. It's like the peak. It's the top.
I have a couple games, but I haven't played them, so it was probably not fair to really mention them. So
Yeah, like
We'll
my
move along.
others, I need to play the others. How about you, John?
All right. I do have one more on my list
Ooh. It's the
that
Candyland.
not been mentioned. No, better.
Okay.
This game is the best horror Halloween game,
Now lies.
bar none,
No
bar
lies. I
none.
can't hear this.
And in fact, it even had this year, and I wished I had seen it. I didn't see it until now. It had a 30th anniversary reprint.
Oh, is it Magic
Yes.
the Gathering because of how expensive the cards are? You're like, wow, this is horrifying. And then they come out with a 30th anniversary box of beta reprint cards that cost $1,000 for 5 freaking booster packs that are self-reported and you can't even play.
Yep.
What is that crap?
Yes. Crap is what that is. But nope. This game is a huge part of my childhood. I mean, I went and played this game in a church at midnight on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
All right. And this game is called Nightmare. The VHS game. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's so the game itself is not that good. I'll be honest. The thing that was great was the gatekeeper. So hilarious. Like we played it multiple times just because it's just such over the top, crypt keeper, kind of like that time, humor. I mean, it was the best. Plus, also, it's just kind of like, oh, we had put it in a VHS and it plays and it does things while we're playing the game. This is great. I mean,
yeah.
sure, I'm looking at it, through the eyes of 12-year-old
Nostalgia
me.
and childhood stupor. Yes.
But I mean, they did update it, like it has like streaming and everything else.
Oh,
and
really?
Oh yeah, and it's called Atmosphere. So I mean,
Okay.
I was gonna go and look into that. Like, if I would have known that Kickstarter was happening, I would have definitely backed that as soon as But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it kind of slipped by me there.
That concept would be cool to modernize it and stuff. Won't be as good as Mansions of Madness, but it'd be really cool.
I don't know. Does Mansions of Madness have a crypt keeper type, guy with like glowing eyes and everything?
I don't know. I haven't played all the scenarios. They do have deep ones in the trader scenario, and they do have glowing eyes, and one of them becomes the trader.
Mm-hmm.
But not quite. So I guess you got me there. All right.
Yep. That.
Good.
I was gonna say, yep, but that's my last one.
All right. How about you, Dan?
Well, I started this evening with a list of like 9 games to be on my short list, and all of them have been mentioned except one, so I might as well mention.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So the last one that I felt needed to be mentioned was Fury of Dracula.
That is true. That is an amazing game.
So Fury of Dracula is an asymmetric game where one player plays as Dracula and everyone else plays as vampire hunters. And Dracula uses a hidden movement mechanic to escape the hunters and plant cards all across the board as they travel around Europe. And what I call it, Dracula is trying to advance his darkness track before the hunters can figure out exactly where he is and stake him in the chest. We've only played this game once here on the channel, and I don't think I played it a second time beyond that. But like, it's really tense either side of the equation that you're on. Like, if you're Dracula and you're like, oh, they know where I am, that's a scary situation to be in.
Yeah, it is.
If you're the hunters and you're like, where the is he?
Yeah,
that's a really frightening situation to be in, because Dracula can win out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, especially when some of those vampires mature and you're like, dang it.
I like the
if
game.
you wanted to play it, I got it on the shelf over there.
Oh, yeah, we have a copy here too.
I like the game, but I get frustrated by the fact that they've had 3 editions and they still have not cleaned up the rule book.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that it's either day or night, but then when you're in combat, it's dusk or dawn. It's like, why can't you just use day or night again?
I don't know. Thematically, they can only kill him at dusk or dawn.
Or maybe
I
that's
don't
when
know.
he would actually be out and about.
You either need to kill him when he's
Vulnerable
going
to
into his
attack.
coffin or kill him when he's going to be getting out of it.
Yeah, it's petty, but that's my complaint about it.
So, what is your Halloween themed game?
So I'm out of games that I've played that I really wanted to talk about, but I do want to mention one that I really want to get to the table at some point, which is Nightmare Productions. So this is a re-implementation of Trump Fabric, which is basically a movie making game. So, but this one takes it into the horror genre. So you have horror. You're basically trying to get a slasher or a creature to be part of your film. You're getting director to be part of your film, and just trying to make a nice, good quality, grade B horror film, and trying to make the best
That
film.
has Bruce Campbell in it.
Sure.
It's not a B horror film unless he's in there.
Okay.
It might actually get rated better if he's not. Just kidding.
I mean, his chin could kill you. I mean, that is the danger of getting him in your movie.
That is
but-
true. All right. So that was our Halloween themed games. I hope you enjoyed that. But before you leave, Nathan has an amazing game that will entertain you, or we'll mock him severely if it doesn't. So without further ado, what is this amazing, amazing game with no stress on your part at all?
Well, thanks for the great build up. That's not stressful at all. So I'm gonna pull up something real quick. So talk among yourselves for a second.
Oh yeah. I have pumpkins behind me.
Rubble, rubble, rubble,
Reveal.
rubble, rubble.
Mhm.
Get you ready?
Whenever you are. Let's.
That was fast.
So first you can talk
Yeah.
about. I want to just give you some topics to talk about, just discuss among yourself. And this first topic to discuss is, what would it be like living in various board games? What board games would you want to live in?
Not Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, I don't think any of the ones that we talked about today.
Stop.
Oh, really? We
So,
didn't even
John, something out of the shadows reaches up and scratches you real, and you're bleeding from your thigh.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. So the game I would want to be playing would be viticulture, because no one gets hurt in viticulture. You just plant grapevines and harvest grape and make wine and then sell it. I mean,
Wine is good.
wine is good. And you have a tasting room, and I'm pretty sure you have to taste it before you have other people taste it. So yeah, there we go.
Stardew Valley. The game.
Stardew Valley. Yeah, where nothing happens.
Yep.
I'm gonna go slightly dangerous and
No.
pick Forgotten Waters.
Oh, you're
Because
dead.
Forgotten Waters is a pirate genre, right? But at least it's like a whitewashed like fantasy version of the pirate genre.
Sure, you
So
can get
like
killed with a flying shark.
I mean, it is possible to lose that game, but it's usually the ship going down is the
Yeah.
loss condition. So individual players don't die. So like if I'm gonna die, at least I'm bringing the whole ship with me,
That's
right?
true. Some of the scenarios are hilarious in that game too.
So I mean, if I got stuck into a game, not a bad one, but it'd still be interesting. I have over there would be Dungeon Decorators. So you are actually designing dungeons for evil people that will hopefully defeat the heroes. So you're not really doing the nefarious things. You're just a contractor. So
Mhm.
Yeah, but sometimes the heroes come in and they don't care who they slay.
yeah, but the heroes don't come in yet. You're just
True, but
designing.
they might come in early.
You're the interior decorator. Nobody wants to kill the interior decorator.
I do.
Well, you're a terrible person.
You didn't paint the walls pink. What is wrong with you? With purple wash. When I go into a room, my eyes need to bleed.
I'm gonna have to make this harder because you guys are actually doing too well.
Oh, really? Okay, well.
Oh, okay.
I would.
Oh, okay.
What game would I not get killed in? Ooh. Every
Monopoly.
game you get killed in. Why did he die so much in game? Concordia. Concordia. I'm just running around building things, collecting resources, and collecting influence through cards to gain points at the end of the game. What the heck? Yeah, no violence.
Okay, so James, you've just been stabbed by a knife.
No,
And
that's
are
not
bleeding
Womp,
from
womp. No.
I just got a flesh wound.
So I'll volunteer for the gruesome death. I want to be in Dinosaur Island to get eviscerated by a velociraptor.
Nope, I'll get the T-Rex death.
No. Oh, seems like you're all right on that one.
What about Roar and Riot?
Reavers of Midgar would not be a bad one because you get to be a Viking, you get to do all sorts of cool stuff, but you
Oh
don't
yeah,
die.
if you die, you go to Valhalla. That's right, right?
Well,
right?
That is true.
do you? Oh, you do in
I mean,
Reavers.
if you
well,
die
not
in battle,
in
you go to
Reavers.
Valhalla. That's how it's supposed to work, right?
Champions of Midgard, if you don't have the expansion, you just die.
Yeah, but you got to have the expansion. The expansion makes it worthwhile.
It's true. It's a good expansion. I don't know what I'm going to say anymore because I don't want to get stabbed repeatedly. Ticket to Ride. That's pretty safe. That's a great gateway game to play with people. Yeah, you just collect tickets, and I don't even know what the theme of that game is. Other that doesn't make sense if you think about it.
Well, if you're talking about simple games like that the theme doesn't really make sense. Talk about Splendor. I got to play that this weekend, and like
Splendor is a cutthroat game where you're actually playing, basically trying to run your own like gem cartel sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to get
the
you
theme
killed.
is just kind of it doesn't it feel the theme just feels kind of pasted on almost.
There is no theme in Splendor. There's none. None at all. It's a fast game though, so there's that.
It is fun though. It is fun. Which Essen did reveal.
Evan, you just got lacerated across the throat. You are not dead yet, but you are severely
How's he not
injured.
dead?
He's got a big gash on your throat. It's just bleeding out.
Dead.
I'm pretty sure he'll be
He's
dead
not
in a couple
dead.
seconds. So,
Yeah.
Dad's
He's gonna
die.
He's gonna be dead by the morning.
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna pick Merchants and
sure, I'm gonna
Marauders. Where
You know
can-
what? You know what? No. I want to be a nemesis with all of you, so I can watch all of us die
Again.
again.
I think you have to say a key word for that.
I want to die by the chest burster. That's how I want to go.
Probably a
Yeah.
little bit more specific. If I,
Mm.
what's the game based on?
Oh,
Oh,
stop.
what's it?
I think I missed a couple of those, but James, you are actually officially dead. You can talk as a ghost, though.
What? What's the game based on? Tell
Just
me.
like decapitated.
So we won. We won.
Hey, we won. James is dead. Yes, we killed the traitor. Let's call it, guys.
Ooh, aliens. You have to say the word aliens.
Let's continue on with the next topic and just say, whose opinion do you trust the most in Tabletop Gaming Guild?
Not James. He's dead.
I am dead.
Yep.
I trust Pete.
Yeah, because he's not here.
That's right. I trust Pete because he's not here.
I will go for the safety suckle and say Nathan.
Safety. I don't know how you say that, and it sounds so bad, but okay.
All right.
But
I'm gonna go.
I didn't get hurt.
That's true.
Are you sure? You might have just missed. That's all. I mean, I'm gonna just take the dive on that one. I trust no one but myself.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm pretty sure if you would say my name, you would immediately died. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Okay, so
Nathan also seems like a trustworthy fellow over there with the giant shelf of books. I mean, games behind him. You know,
Safety suckle.
if we are to discuss games as experts, he seems to
Dan.
have the
You do
Uh-oh.
take
the
a
chops.
you
You
lose
take 2d6
your
of
left
damage.
hand.
Lose my left hand. Okay, all right. I'm gonna play Luke Skywalker here
Yeah,
now.
You're right-handed.
Oh,
You're fine.
wrong one. You should have gone with Ash, the chainsaw on there.
Oh, right.
So let's just talk about what do you think's happening right now?
I think Dan's dying.
So
dead yet.
I'm pretty sure
John has an
Nathan
axe.
is the psycho killer,
Oh,
and he is slowly eliminating all of us in a Camp Windy Lake style scenario.
Or Crystal Lake kind of
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah, whatever. Pick your setting.
You might be
Or-
playing a game that you don't know you're playing.
Well,
Oh, we're definitely doing that.
yeah, we're playing Bloom.
Nope.
I mean, it might be like
What's that game where you put
Spyfall
ad-lib?
or code
Codewords.
words.
Code words
Nope.
or code names?
Something similar.
Yeah.
Some kind of word game.
Basically, I think you're
Yeah.
close enough to it. Basically, I'm playing a game of taboo with you. I got a list of words you're not allowed to say, but you've not been saying most of them.
Something like I was trying to get. Yeah.
It's like word games.
So yeah, you guys did really well avoiding saying any of the things I.
Are we done? Are you going to give us a couple of the words as examples?
So I kind of figured you would start saying things like, "Oh, I'm going to be quiet and not say something to get." So quiet was one of my keyword. James said something close, but not quite. And fear or afraid, I used as one of the words. Bored and game I added because it was you guys were just doing too well. Fun. Nobody said fun hardly. Like I think it came up once.
Well, I was trying not to die in a board game, so I was like,
Talk was one of the words. Never was said, I don't think. I may have missed some of these words, but
Wait, which word? Hot?
talk.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I want to talk about. Yeah, nope, never was said. Traitor. Never was mentioned.
Did we not?
I
thought we
did say
said
James,
traitor.
so that counts, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought about
Yeah,
that.
Synonym.
And Lang was going to be an instant death. So yeah, that was our stupid little game. It went all right, I guess. You guys
Yeah,
just
it's
did
fun.
not say the words I wanted you to say.
We won.
yeah.
Hey.
I got out with
One
only
person.
one hand
And it was
gone.
the
Oh,
traitor.
well.
All right, so that was our episode on Halloween games and our fun, silly game at the end. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and you all have a good night.